So here's the host of our show, Christian Alba.
It's been a pleasure. Man, you bring back memories, man. Wow.
That's big me.
This is my Hall of Fame. You know, I got inducted to the boxing Hall of Fame. Yeah. So these pictures, these are all the legendary football players. That's what Schurz is known for. It's crazy because one of my friends' father was part of the team that won it back in the 60s. When the last time Schurz won the state championship? Yeah, but football.
Oh.
Yeah, what was that? Powerhouse. Did you know that?
No, I didn't know.
Oh, really? Okay,
I'm not into that
funny.
much into sports, but I am into like boxing. I do like
really?
boxing and MMA.
Oh, really? Oh, wow. Yeah, so no blood, you know, like there. So, oh, yeah, it is.
I don't know if you remember this, Jim.
Oh, yes. Holy cow. Do they have daily models in that thing?
I don't know how it looks back then, but
Oh, wow, this is it right here, huh? Oh, wow. It seemed like it shrunk. Like it just was so small. Wow, small. Oh, wow. Wow, I know that little guy right there. We both started boxing together.
Oh, really?
Small world, David Diaz. He was 10 years old and I was 13 at Hamlet Park. Yup, childhood buddy of mine. Small world. Wow. What was our lockers here? These all the students' lockers?
Yes.
Yes, I bet you do. Yes, yes. Oh, yeah.
I remember my first year here. I got
Oh, you're
lost.
not here no more?
Well, this is my last year.
Oh, congrats, man. Oh, wow. Holy cow. Is there any, with your knowledge, do you know any teachers that was teaching back in the 90s that are still here or no?
I think the only one that I do know personally would be Mr. Johnson. I know him.
Oh, yeah? Oh,
He's Mr. McKinstry. Favorite teacher.
He's my
He's my favorite teacher. Hello and welcome back to another exciting episode of The Morning Show. I've got some exciting news to share with y'all today. We may have just found our future host. We're not giving it all away just yet, but get ready because we'll be teasing this new audition in the coming weeks. You won't want to miss what's to come. But today, we cannot ignore what's happening with ICE and the way immigration is being handled in this country. It's all over the news, in our communities, and in our hearts. There are families being torn apart, people being treated like criminals for wanting a better life or for simply wanting safety. And it's not hard to draw a line between that and what we're trying to do with our work, highlight the truths, or giving people a voice who have been silenced. When we talk about immigration, it's not just a policy issue, it's personal. It's about real people, human beings trying to live their lives, often facing more obstacles than most of us can even comprehend. ICE has become this symbol of fear and division, and it's heartbreaking. We cannot ignore what's happening outside of our doors. So yeah, while we have some challenges with the content and the messages of our show, there are bigger conversations happening in the world that's demanding our attention, and it's up to us, whether through our work, our words, or just our presence, to decide how we want to show up for those who need it the most. Moving on, let me introduce you to Oquendo, a former heavyweight champion who's using his incredible journey and experience to make a real difference in the lives of young people. After achieving greatness in the boxing ring, Oquendo has opened his Oquendo Boxing Academy, where he's now focused on teaching teens the discipline and the strength that helped him succeed while offering them a positive path away from drugs and gangs. With his leadership, these young athletes are learning not just how to box, but how to build confidence, stay focused, and make better choices for their futures. Now let's introduce our boxer, Oquendo.
Major boxing organizations. Tonight, he is making the first defense of his title, presenting the NABF heavyweight champion known as the Big O, introducing Oquendo.
All right. Tell me more about your school, like your school experience.
Man, coming here when I was a freshman back in 1988, a little shy, a little hesitant, like, man, we're going through a whole different, building, friends, relationship, and all that. And throughout the days, I just kept coming, my confidence got better, hanging out with a cool teacher. And then one of my favorite teacher, Mr. Fendi, He was actually a boxing expert, and he actually told me about fighters in the 1900s and 1800s. John L. Sullivan, who used to fight bare knuckle, and I felt so at ease. And from there on, all these other teachers, they found it interesting that they have a fighter in the school.
Who was your most favorite teacher here?
I have to say Mr. Finley. Last time I seen him, it was that one of my kids were born at St. Joseph Hospital on Lincoln Park area, and that's the last time I seen him. That had to be, I'd say, the early 2008, 90s, and it was great seeing him. He was pretty fragile at that time, but it was a great moment seeing him and him, remembering our conversation.
How did you like the tour around here that I gave you?
Oh man, it brought back memories. It takes me back to my teenage years. The friendships. It just the culture back then. I miss it. And nowadays, times have changed, and man, it was a great experience.
All right. What was your first impression when you stepped onto the ring?
Interesting, because I was terrified. I was, getting ready to fight one of my first fights in the Chicago Park District, and I was pretty terrified. Adrenaline high, so that's why we train and box to stay in shape, because when you get in that ring, the adrenaline, it's like you're terrified. Once that bell ring, it's like, man, you just, don't want to, fight, but once they hit you, all bets off, and we in there to go for, blow for blow.
All right. What was your mindset going into a title fight?
Well, like I said, my experience, starting from from grammar school to high school and so forth, and world class now that you're talking about, it was a great experience. It's like here I am in front of a folklore legend, Evander, the real deal Holyfield, and I used to watch this man in the 90s while I was in high school, while he's knocking out Buster Douglas, James Buster Douglas, back in 1990. It's one of the biggest upsets in sports history at the time. And it was a surreal moment that here I am, several decades later, I'm across the man that I seen knocked out Buster Douglas, the man who knocked out Mike Tyson. So it was just like an experience of a lifetime at that time.
Wow. How did you recover mentally and physically after a tough loss or defeat?
Staying away from the sports at that time, just myself, to myself, with my family and loved ones, of course, to engage in positivity and just step away from the sport for a little moment and recuperate myself and make changes for the future of boxing.
How did you deal with the fear or anxiety before a major fight?
Yeah, it is, like I said, experiencing as a young kid, starting from there, and then in the big lights, camera, action, the screens, HBO, Showtime, ESPN, these major networks that, lights, camera, and action, you have to be ready, and that's why you have to train so hard. Not only physically, boxing, this is a sport that you have to be 80%, mentally fit, because, boxing is majority mental, and the physical, of course, has great attributes for the conditioning. So once your mind is right, things will go smoothly during the event.
Okay, I forgot what social media page, but I saw an image of you with Muhammad Ali.
Man, that's another thing. Whoever thought a skinny old little kid from uptown, growing up in the Chicago housing projects, and whoever thought that he'll be in the side of one of the greatest athletes and most famous person in the world, this little kid, and it was me. It was a surreal moment that I was able to have my idol, my dad's idol. I remember watching him as a little 5-year-old kid back in '78. I was 5 at the time, and he was fighting Leon Spinks, and my dad used to always take me to his house to see these fights, and man, it was a surreal moment. I ended up being next to him and friends with his kids, his twin daughters. There were wives of my manager, and when I turned professional, small world, and I'm honored to be a part of that family, of the Ali family.
Were you nervous when you met him? Like, how nervous were you?
Man, I was just, it was not even nervous. I was just like in awe, like, wow, this is a dream come true, wow. And when I was getting ready to fight back in 1991 at the MGM Grand, actually right after Mike Tyson knocked out Francois Botha from South Africa, I was what they call swing bout because I was a prospect at the time, and I was fighting the 1996 Olympic bronze medalist Duncan Duckworth from Nigeria, who was 6 foot, no, he was, 6'5", 245 pounds at the time. I was just 6'2", 200, probably 15, 20. So I was a major underdog, and when I seen Ali just give me his blessings, that he pointed to me that I was going to be the victor to these sanctioning world bodies, he was right. I ended up having the upset of the year. I ended up getting the ESPN Prospect of the Year in 1999, and the rest was history.
Wow. Who was your dream opponent?
My dream opponent, I must say, this fighter that they had, like the next Joe Frazier, one of Muhammad Ali's, counterparts that he duked it up with, and his name was the Black Rhino, Clifford the Black Rhino Etienne. Back in 2001, I was doing my Showtime Championship boxing debut in front of millions of people, and I was the major underdog. We were both undefeated at the time. I was like 19 and 20 and 0. He was undefeated too, just knocking out world champions and stuff. So, man, nobody gave me a chance. The only people that thought I was gonna win that fight was just me, my trainer, my family. The whole boxing world didn't give me a chance. And 8 knockdowns later, a knockout, I was champion and made history and had not only the Fighter of the Year award, but the Upset of the Year award.
What advice do you have for young fighters who are just starting out?
Oh yeah, don't never give up. If you start, boxing could be a little rough. You might be getting hit and other things don't work out, but keep on trying. Practice hard. Don't never give up. I'm a champion of second chances. Of course, a kid like myself, living in the housing projects, it's not a lot of possibilities and opportunities, but I made it because of my work ethic and wanting to provide better for my siblings, and especially my mom, to make her proud of me, and moving out the housing projects, which I ended up doing.
All right, I'm gonna ask more of what else you did here. Like, what other things did you do here?
Oh man, I have great memories here in this school. I met a lot of great friends that I'm still friends to this day. Growing up in the Chicago housing projects, I always kept it, how we say, 100, because these are my friends that have been with me from day one, and they went to all my fights, supported me throughout my, up and coming fights, my Golden Glove year fights when I was an amateur to pro, and this school brought me a lot of great engagement with positive people that I still keep in contact today, and man, that's why I'm here, just in awe, because it's bringing back a lot of great memories,
You, when we were talking, you talked a lot about art. Can you talk about it again?
Oh yeah, I love art. Even though I'm into sports and stuff, but art is my thing, and boxing is sweet science, how we call it. But I have a lot of great friends and people that I looked up as a young adult, a young teen, that I associate to this day. I have a lot of graffiti artists from New York, from back in the days, and from b-boying, from breakdancing, hip hop. That's all our culture. That's art, you know. And then my sport, boxing, you know, all that intertwines together, and I love it. I'm great friends with a lot of artists to this day that are icons in graffiti and breakdancing. Like one of the breakdancers was iconic. I'm pretty sure you guys could look him up. Crazy Legs, you know, he was in that movie Beat Street in 1984. And I was, like I said, a little kid. I remember watching it, going to Logan Square Theater to watch that, and I finally met him, you know, at the Puerto Rican, actually in Puerto Rico at Hurricane Maria. You know, we had our country hit very devastated hit that year, and with my foundation, I was able to raise over $250,000, and he was one of the volunteers that was, you know, on foot, you know, the soldiers that helped our country. You know, he's from New York, he's from the Bronx, you know, and I'm from Chicago, and man, I ended up meeting the guy that I grew up admiring, because, you know, I love breakdancing. Like I said, I love art, you know, not only drawings, art, you know, boxing, you know, all music, all hip hop. You know, that's my thing, and man, I'm honored that I'm able to know a lot of these iconic hip hop artists and breakdancers.
And I also want to ask about your boxing academy. How did it build? How did it start?
Oh man, that's my dream. That's my big baby. It started from my dad, man. God rest his soul. My dad, who encouraged me to box, he also told me, you know, think about in your career, you know, coming to an end, you know, you gotta have, you know, plan B, and he thought maybe you should, you know, teach, you know, boxing for kids and stuff like that. And yes, he was so right. The rest was history. I ended up founding my football foundation back in 2009, and here I am today, you know, servicing many communities in the Chicago area. And even though I live, you know, outside Chicago, but I come here because that's my mission. You know, it's a mission that, you know, I pray to our God, saying, you know what, I go back to your roots and help those like you were at that time. And yeah, he was right. The rest is history. And I travel all over the world with my foundation. I've been to Dubai, I've been to Saudi Arabia, I've been to Ecuador, you know, Mexico, you know, my country, Puerto Rico, I mean, just to name a few, you know, Germany. And whoever thought that, you know, my career, you know, take me all over the world. You know, a little kid growing up a couple miles down, you know, in the Chicago housing projects, you know, it's surreal.
Wow. All right. Now, one more question. What do you want your legacy to be in the sport of boxing?
You know, hard worker, dedicated, fearless, which the whole boxing community world knows about me. I take all comers, you know. And it's interesting because when I was young, that's the thing I have to overcome, fear, you know, because you know, me and fear wasn't, you know, mixing well. But with the experience from my childhood to teenage to adulthood, it went up to a different level, and you know, I overcame it, and here I am today, you know, making history, and I'm in the Boxing Hall of Fame.
All right. That was my last question. Do you have anything else to say?
Yes, you know, I'd like to thank you for, you know, having me on this great interview, because they need to hear the story. You know, they need to hear about a kid, you know, coming from Puerto Rico, you know, for a better life in Chicago, and from home apart to uptown to the projects, and you know, a lot of people don't make it, you know, out the projects, and I was one of those fortunate, and that's why, you know, it's implemented in me to give back to the community, and that's my passion. I'm glad you all heard the story and check me out on, you know, FOBA Foundation, Friends Oquendo. Look me up and see all the stuff I do in the community and all around the world.
All right.
Thank you all.
Let's thank Fred Oquendo for coming on to our show. If you want to catch more episodes of The Morning Show, be sure to scan our QR code. And for some fun and random content, don't forget to follow us on TikTok. Thanks for tuning in. Have a fantastic week, and we are out. Wow, this...
Was it off the whole time?
No, it was on. It was on.